And of those 70 that graduated, were any of those 9 arrests by the same person? I mean, is it, or were those 9 separate, of the 70 that graduated, 9 separate individuals?
Defendants?
Right.
I know
because that could even be stronger. If it was,
true.
Right.
I know that the felony arrests were 3 different people.
Okay,
yeah, I know
right,
I can't remember about the
sure, but still,
misdemeanors.
tremendous.
But it's a remarkable success rate for a group of people that were committed, fully committed to a life of crime.
Right.
So we're seeing a real, just a real uplifting change of life going on. But it's hard, and a lot of them flunk out. And when they flunk out, they typically go to prison. So.
And you sure.
Well, and that's where that that's the alternative. There's a lot of incentive for them to stay with it.
Absolutely, and from a larger perspective, you think about some of the major, for you, I mean, you're seeing it from so many perspectives there, Greg, even while you're driving home and thinking about it. There are some major societal issues and cultural issues that really impact the criminal justice system.
And, in South Carolina, clearly illegal, abuse of illegal drugs, even legal and illegal drugs, is a huge problem. And I mean, it drives 80% of the crime. And when I say it drives it, I don't mean necessarily those are all drug dealers. I mean that, people are under the influence of alcohol or drugs when they commit the crimes. They're, stealing to get money to buy drugs and alcohol. They're a wide range, but it's over 80% of the crimes are somehow directly or indirectly related to the use of legal or illegal drugs. So that continues to be, problem number one. And I don't know how you ever really fix it. It's on the demand side. Is try to get people to understand it's just unhealthy and it's just not good for you. The second thing I see in South Carolina that's a big issue is mental health. We really have ended up as a state, and this is not just our state, it's across the country, that we've cut budgets so much on mental health that you have, there's no place for these folks to go, so they end up in the criminal justice system when they really should be in the mental health system. And they're doing crimes, but it's basically because they're, because they have these other issues driving them, and that's something we've got to get a handle on as a state. I think re-entry is another big issue. Coming out of prison, we have very little re-entry. Kind of shifting back into street life, and we see a lot of people come out of prison and go right back, and that's a big issue to tackle. And fundamentally, I think from a societal standpoint, is kind of this general shift not to accept responsibility, just lack of responsibility, because that's really all the criminal justice system is it assigns responsibility and consequences. And if people take responsibility, and the need for criminal justice is less, we don't need it as much, if they'll just be responsible for themselves. And you see it a lot in juvenile court, where you'll see this child that's charged with something, and you meet their parents or a parent, and in that process, and you can see why this child's in trouble, because the parent's not taking responsibility. It's just passing down through the generations. And so,
well, all 4 of those clearly can't be solved, really none of them, independently by the solicitor's office. But hopefully, are you finding that agencies are coming to the solicitor's office and getting direct and anecdotal, indirect evidence of things, ways that they can help really try to tackle these? I mean, by pulling stuff from you.
I look at it, we can't fix the world, and we can't fix the United States of America, and we can't fix South Carolina from right here. But we can work on this case with this defendant, with this victim. We can do good work on that case. And maybe we can turn that life around a little bit. And maybe that means sending them to jail, or maybe it means dismissing the case. It could be, there's a wide range of options out there. But if you know what's available, and you're creative in it, and you're thoughtful about what this person needs, when I say a defendant, proving he did it's one thing, but now what do we do with him? Can we fix him? Is he worth fixing, or is he not? Because some people you can't fix. But so we do get opportunities, and that's one of the best things about the job, is you get some opportunities to make a little difference. Because I think that's where the changes get made. I think they get made at the street level. They don't get made up here. They get made down here, and with individual lives.
But Greg, that puts a heck of a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. Just, I mean, think about that. Step back and think, if some poor guy, if it wasn't me, I mean, someone has got to take a lot of that on and trying to pass down those decisions to your crew to help pass that along when you know a defendant's guilty. But do you really, I mean, do you keep moving forward? I mean, that puts a lot of responsibility on your shoulders.
Well, you know, a couple things in response to that would be, first, I've got great lawyers and support staff.
Yeah.
You know, a wonderful group of people.
Right.
So we're sharing the burden together.
You can sleep well at night.
You know,
yeah.
we're sharing it together. It's not
Right.
all on me.
Right.
We spread that
Yes.
out. And so that's knowing they're there. I sleep well at night. Exactly.
Right.
You know, the other thing is you get trained for it. You know, and I've been trained for it. I mean, I've learned this over a long time and a lot of work, and so that helps. You know, you get better at it as
Right.
far as adapt to it.
Right.
But I think mostly, you know, a lot of people, they see a problem, and they would like to do something about a problem, but they don't know how, and it can be frustrating. For us,
Right.
we can actually do something
Yes,
about it.
yes.
We can take some action.
How exciting.
And it is exciting.
Yeah.
So you don't just have to, you know, stand by the water cooler and, you know, beat your hand and say, "Dadgum, those guys in Washington, you know, they're screwing up," you know, or
Right,
whatever.
right.
You know, you can say, "Well, I can work on this one. You know, I really can make a difference on this one."
Right.
And that gives you some comfort. I mean, you know, you can actually do something about it. It's a
Right.
wonderful thing.
Well, you know, that probably makes you think, when people approach you, Greg, you'd be so perfect for this office, or Greg, you'd be perfect for this, or so many other things. This may say, why would I ever want to leave this? I'm really making a difference. I mean, yes, there are a lot of wonderful things, and I potentially could make a difference there, but this is really special. This is one of a kind where I can really impact a lot of folks.
Greg, it's unusual. We've got solicitors, 16 circuit solicitors, and
Right.
you know, they retire from time to time. They cycle through, and over my 20-something year career, I've seen, you know, scores of them. I've known scores of them.
Yeah.
I can only think of a couple that have run for other political office.
Is that
Very
right?
few,
Yeah.
because I think it's just what you say. You get in this job,
Yeah.
and you go, why would I want to? You
Right.
know, I can see it. I can do some work and benefit somebody, and I can actually see that person. I can see the difference I made.
Yeah.
Where if you were to go to Washington, you may do great work,
Right.
but it's very difficult to see it from 50,000 feet away.
Right.
Yeah.
Golly. Well, you know, I've got pages of questions here, 2 pages, tons of questions I want to ask. We're almost about out of time, and of course, I think you've just answered what's the best part of the job. There's got to be a worse part as well. There's got to be a tough aspect of being the Horry and Georgetown County top prosecuting attorney.
I think I just say about being a prosecutor in general, the hardest part is that we have to live in a world of evidence. And oftentimes you have a case and you know that defendant did it. You're sure that that defendant did it. And you may even have evidence that that defendant did it, but that evidence is inadmissible. The rules say you're not going to get to show that to a jury.
Right.
And I'm in a place where
Wow.
morally, legally, and ethically, I've got to dismiss that case. But I know that guy did it, and he beat the system.
Right.
And it's a bad lesson for everybody. And those are the ones you hate to see justice cheated. And that's hard to, it's hard to watch, but you have to get over that as a prosecutor. You have to understand that, you know, you have to follow the evidence that you have in the case. That's what guides you.
Right.
And but it can be tough, you know, when you have to sit down with a family member or you know, a victim and say, you know, I know it happened and I know he did it, but I can't prove it and I'm going to dismiss it.
The death penalty is not something that came out of your mouth on the worst part or the best. I mean, you know, that is the
Right.
death penalty, of course, is something that you probably hear a lot. Is that something that you really have to pursue, or is that something you pursue on a regular basis?
We have 2 death penalty cases pending right now. We almost always have at least one pending over the, you know, almost 13 years I've been here. It's I think we pursue it, you know, kind of, I'd say about the middle of the road for South Carolina prosecutors. There's some prosecutors that never pursue it. There's some that are more aggressive than I am with it. We pursue it about, I did an analysis one time, and about 8% of the murders will seek the death penalty, so it's not a large number, 5 to 8%. But it's you know, as far as the worst part or the best part, I would put seeking the death penalty is probably the hardest part.
hardest part.
To make a decision that you're going to ask your fellow citizens to take someone else's life it's a very, very difficult process and decision-making process. So,
well, I hate that we ran out of time on the death penalty, but
okay.
Thanks so much for being with us.
It's been my pleasure, Greg.
Very
Great talking
exciting.
to you today.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Stay tuned to a little more All-American People with the Honorable Greg Hembree, 15th Circuit Solicitor, coming up next. If you reside in one of these two counties, Horry and Georgetown counties, Greg is your solicitor. He is your solicitor. He wants you to call 843-915-5460, 915-5460. If you've got a question, whatever it is, give them a call. In addition, if you're a member of a service organization or have some other questions that I clearly didn't get out this morning and you want to see them, give them a call, line Greg up or someone on his staff to come out and speak to your organization. I know there's a lot of questions that I wanted to get out. I may be calling the office to get him to come speak to our group because he's a tremendous guy. Greg, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
My pleasure.